continuing with more character turnarounds. Today I had to finish up with Princess Lace and her turnaround sheet, just making sure to put all the colors down, so that when I finally do sit down and figure out what her color palette will actually be, though I think this is like pretty close to what we want it, since Bones and I looked at it and he was saying like, oh, well, we've already used her design before in color, like with our buttons, and on our end card, I totally forgot that she is on the end card of all our videos. So there she is in color as well. So her color palette is basically chosen already. But yeah, it's just easier to have all of her character sheet all colored and nice so that when I make adjustments, it affects everything. And then, yeah, I don't know. I'm always worried that like flat coloring isn't very fun to watch, though I think it's probably nicer to watch than it is to do. I don't know. I find flat coloring really boring. Boring and relaxing. Like, it has its pros and its cons. The pro is that it can be very relaxing and it's very easy work to do when you just like, you know, you're not in like the creative mindset, or like you've been working really hard on other stuff and you're like, I need a mental break, but I still want to get some work done. So it's like you can just sit and like color stuff in. It's like using a coloring book. It's very like meditative and calm and like easy to do. So that's nice. But when I find I'm in that creative mindset, I'm like, I don't want to be doing flat colors. Oh my god. Like I remember working on Sovereign and hating doing flat colors. Because back when I was working on Sovereign, I was like really fixated on getting pages out really fast. And so I always felt that flat coloring was like taking way too long. So like I started asking Bones to help me with flat colors, because like, you know, he could go into Photoshop and fill in a bunch of stuff with random colors and then I could adjust them later. So for a while we did that, and then he got busy with other stuff, or like I just started finding it easier to do it myself, like whatever it was. But I went back to flat coloring it on my own. But for the longest time I really hated doing it. I always felt like I was wasting time. I was always trying to find ways to make it faster, which is sort of how I developed how I do flat colors these days. I tend to draw like an outline around the shape, like within the lines, and then fill it in with a paint bucket, and then fill in the little extra pixels, because the paint bucket does tend to leave like a few transparent pixels behind when you fill something, which shaves off a bunch of time when I am flat coloring. Because what I used to do back when I started doing color comics is I'd fill in everything and like I'd go outside of the lines of my line work and then I'd erase away all that. And so like I'd have to spend a lot of time be like finessing and making sure that I wasn't taking away too much color or going inside the lines. So I find that just doing like a really quick outline and then filling it in shaves off a lot of time. So I guess that is the bright side of like struggling a lot and doing a lot of flat coloring in Sovereign. But yeah, so I've gotten it down to a technique that I like, that I find very quick. And I don't always do it. Sometimes I really do just sit down and fill things in and take my time when I need that meditative stuff. I did actually decide to start with some flat coloring, because I was like, it's kind of early today. I have a feeling if I jump right into doing creative stuff, it's gonna turn out kind of wonky, so how about I do some warm-ups by doing some flat coloring. Yeah, I'm curious what you get frustrated with in your own work, like time-wise, because I know I still get kind of like, with flat colors. I don't always want to do them. I've come around a lot more. I think part of why I didn't like it before was I wasn't very good with color, so I wanted to like breeze past it as fast as possible because I was uncomfortable with it. But now that I am a lot more confident with my colors, it's a lot more enjoyable. And I used to feel that way about line work too, like inking, where for the longest time, like, I just wanted to breeze through it as fast as possible, or I'd try to get away with like turning my pencils into inks so that I wouldn't ever have to like ink something, even though that's just taking away a step. So I don't know. But yeah, I wasn't very confident with my lines at first, so I was always trying to zoom through it as fast as possible. And when I started comics, I also thought that line work took too long. And that's probably because I wasn't good at it and I needed to spend more time on it. Whereas now, inking is like my favorite part of making comics. I love line work. I love doing it. I love how it looks. I love black and white comics for that reason. Because when I started, I loved sketching. I loved just like that creative first draft of things. Though I guess, like, I was gonna say your thumbnails are your first draft, but that's more like an outline, and then pencils are like your first draft. Anyway, so I loved that, because it's like, I guess it was just like what I'd always done up until I started working on comic projects, where I just sketch in my sketchbook, so I felt like I was good at it. It felt easy, it was fast. So then when I started having to force myself to learn color in inks, it was very like, ooh, I hate this. I'm not good at it, so I don't like it. So I hope flat coloring is nice to watch. I feel like it should have the same kind of meditative feeling of doing it, where it's very like, it's just nice to see something colored in. It's very satisfying. I also find like choosing colors, it's on that line for me right now where it's frustrating and fun. I think as I get it more, it's becoming a lot more fun. So like when I'm sitting down and I open the saturation and hue sliders in Photoshop and Clip Studio, it is fun because I kind of like, okay, I know a bit more about color palettes and color theory and stuff, so let's see if I can make this work. But when it stops working, it can be really frustrating because I'm like, I don't know what's not working, I just know that something's wrong, and that's like the worst feeling. I felt that way a lot early in comics, where I was like, this looks terrible, but I don't know how to fix it, and that is like the worst. It is the worst when like your knowledge of art exceeds your skill level, because you're like, I work so hard, why is my stuff not where I want it to be? I know I can do better. Why can't my hands just do it? Like, man, that was like my whole early comics career. I remember thinking that a lot, and a lot of the time I wasn't having a lot of fun because I was really like upset about that. But now at my skill level where I am, I find it's a lot more fun, and I can focus more on like the creative aspect and like the storytelling aspect rather than all the nitty-gritty like technical work. I mean, like I am still learning a lot of the craft and technical work, but I don't know, maybe I'm a lot more chill now too. So I also took some time to work on Queen Snow. I did have her turnaround created previously because she showed up in the prologue of 9 Point. So I really just grabbed her old turnaround. I fixed up some of the proportions because I was like, oh my god, I drew her so elongated. Like I made her legs way too long, I made her arms way too long, and her waist way too long, and her head tiny compared to all that. So I just fixed up the proportions a little bit and put her new dress on her. She hasn't changed that much in the time skip, but that's fine. Also, I looked at her old character design and I realized there's a slit in the back of her dress for her tail, and I was like, oh my god, Ursula, check your work, stop just saying things. Because that happens all the time, where I'll talk in a video and then Bones will watch it once I've posted it and he's like, let me correct you on something, and I'm like, damn it, ugh, heck. Why didn't I check what I was talking about? Oh well. So yeah, so I guess it, like I said in the last video, it makes sense that cats would have slits for their tails, because it would be uncomfortable to have like a whole bunch of fabric on top of your tail. Because yeah, so there we go, problem solved. I will maybe switch up Lace's design so that she has a little hole in the back of her dress for her tail. Ew. And in Queen Snow's new design, I added like just a couple layers of fabric above her tail, with most of it hanging out so that, you know, she doesn't have all the fabric on top, making it hard to move it. So yeah. Which makes sense too, because like if they're wearing pants, they would also have a hole for their tail, so why wouldn't they have it in their dresses? Anyways, character design is hard. There's a lot of stuff like when you're building a cast you have to remember. I'm so bad at it. My memory is like that of a potato. I was thinking a lot about like art skill and like ease of art skill a lot yesterday. Bones and I went to a convention. We were at Forest City Comic Con, which is in London, Ontario, I should add. And it was really fun. It was like a one-day con. We've never been to it before. It was really chill because there's a range of like size of cons that we've been to. Like the biggest one we go to is Fan Expo, which is like the largest in Canada, I think. And it's like insane and it's huge, and like there's constantly massive crowds of people walking by your table, and like the artist alley is like the size of a building, and like it is crazy. So that's the biggest one we go to, and it's very like I find like it's very like business. It's very like we are there to sell things. We don't get much time to talk to people because, like, there's always crowds going by and it's really loud and it's 4 days long, so we're super tired by the end. So it's very, like, sell, business. It is nice because we do get to go say hi to, like, a lot of artists that we meet throughout the year because it's where, like, it's like a reunion of all the Ontario artists. And I guess artists that, like, go across Canada for us. So we do get to say hi to everyone at some point. But when interacting with, like, customers, it's very, like, go. And then we've been to some super tiny cons. Like, there was one we went to called EmicoCon, which was, like, a tiny little room in a hotel. And, like, we didn't sell very much, which is fine because, like, it was very close to us. We knew the people running it, so, like, I think Bones did, like, a panel for them about comics, and then in exchange we got a free table. No, that was the second year we went to Emico. The first year, I think, like, the tables were $15, so, like, I think we made the table back by selling one book. So we were fine, and then there weren't very many customers. It was super tiny. I think there was maybe, like, 100 people that came through. But we got to spend the whole weekend just chatting with, like, the other vendors and the other artists and stuff. And, like, we just hung out, we made jokes, we made really nice friends, and, like, we all went to dinner afterward. So that was really fun, just because it was, like, just a day of hanging out with friends. And then we've been to a few medium-sized conventions. So, like, Con Bravo is one that I'd call kind of medium-sized, at least between Emico and Fan Expo. We went to FrostCon a couple years ago when that was still running, which, again, I think was a one-day con? Or a 2-day. It was very small. Can't remember the details. Ursula, look it up, maybe. But yeah. So that one was very small. Con Bravo is one that we've been to several years in a row that's, like, medium-sized. And then we tried out Forest City Comic Con this year, and it was, again, very, like, medium-sized. It was lots of... We did make, like, quite a few sales. There was pretty good traffic going through. But it was, like, slow enough that we could talk to people if we wanted to. So we had, like, some really nice chats with people. We met a lot of, like, LGBT people because we hang, like, the gay pride and trans pride flags at our table because, like, our content's all gay and it's a nice way to, like, advertise it. And, like, so yeah, we got to meet a lot of people who are in the community and, like, who like comics and art and were interested in talking about it. And we actually had time to talk to them about it. Yeah, it was really nice. It was very relaxed. The problem with it being a one-day con is that it was, like, 12 hours. Because we had to leave home around, like, 8 o'clock in the morning, and we didn't get back until 9:30. Oh, and we had the worst time getting home. So we were dead tired because we'd been there all day. And, like, we got enough traffic that there wasn't, like, a whole bunch of downtime. Because, like, when you're at a con, sometimes it's nice to just go hide somewhere for a little bit and just be by yourself. Because, like, it's a lot of talking. It's a lot of, like, just sitting there. So your back gets sore. You get really tired. It's nice to just, like, decompress sometime, like, throughout the day or, like, with breaks and stuff. But yeah, but there wasn't a lot of time to, like, go and take breaks. So Bones and I were pretty exhausted by the time we left. And so on our way home, to get out of the parking lot, there was, like, a median between the two lanes of traffic. So we're like, okay, I'd have to do, like, a crazy U-turn or, like, whatever to get into, like, the way the GPS wanted me to go. So I was like, I'll just go the other way and hopefully it'll reroute me to, like, get back onto the 401, which is a big highway near us. But instead of rerouting us so that we got to the 401, it took us to the other side of London and then sent us down a whole bunch of, like, back roads. Hold on. Vero! Oh, there you are. What are you doing? It sent us down a whole bunch of back roads. It was, like, 9 o'clock at night. It was so dark. And, like, I don't have a whole lot of experience, like, driving late at night, especially down country back roads where there is zero light and you can hardly see anything in front of you. It was spooky, to say the least. Like, I was a little like, oh my god, what if, like, something jumps out into the road like a deer? Oh my god. Also, what if there are ghosts? Because my brain was like, this is it. This is where you meet a monster in the woods. We do take a lot of, like, back roads home from Toronto conventions because we like to avoid, like, all the heavy traffic going in and out of Toronto. So on our way back, we usually take, like, a really lazy way home down a bunch of country roads, very similar to, like, what we went through last night. But it's usually, like, during the day or, like, when the sun's setting, so you can actually see. So yeah, so that was an adventure, and we were super hungry because we were like, oh, well, we'll wait an hour before we get food and go home and eat there. And so, like, the reroute took, like, I don't know, 45 minutes extra, so we were starving by the time we got home, and, like, I hadn't gone to the bathroom, because I was like, it'll just be an hour home on the highway, it'll be fine. And then it was so long, and so, like, by the end, we were, like, screaming to stay awake, and to stay alert and sane. I guess, not sane, we were just crazy by the end. We'd gone insane. But yeah, so we made it home. We made it home all right. We had a really nice time. Talked to a lot of cool people. But yeah, I really like those medium-sized conventions because you really make friends. I think Con Bravo is where I met a lot of, like, regular customers, I think. Because, yeah, we could just talk to people, and if they picked up, like, Pretty Mouth or Magpie and they came back and were like, oh my gosh, I remember you guys from last year, we could actually talk about it. We could ask them about, like, what they're interested in, and then we'd meet them every year. Because at Fan Expo, you can meet someone and then never run into them ever again, because it's so huge. So it's really nice to have those smaller cons to just meet people and network. I think that's, like, my favorite kind of convention. It's a lot more chill, and I'm down for that. I'm gonna go get pumpkin spice lattes with bones, because this is what we live for. Oh my god, there was a cat. I had to stop myself from adopting this cat because it was marketed to me so well. So at, like, a local shelter near us, Bones likes to look through all the cats. He just likes looking at them. It was from when, like, forever ago, when we were thinking about adopting cats. Eventually we did. We got some kittens. Our Lear and Amalthea. But for a long time, he was looking through the shelters, like, every day. And so, like, he started doing that again. Or maybe he never stopped. I don't know. But recently, he was like, dude, there is this cat named Pumpkin Spice. And it's a cute little black cat. And please read her bio. And I did. And they were like... The bio was so cute. It was like, I like wearing sweatpants and drinking PSLs. And... let's go hang out together and brush each other's hair. And I was like, this cat gets me. So, yeah, I almost adopted a cat because it was so cute. That shelter did a good job. I was like, dang it. You're pulling at my heartstrings, but I can't have another cat because I have so many. Ooh, woo. Bones is talking to me. What's he saying? He hears what I'm saying, so he sent me the ad. I'll read some of it. Somewhere in the world right now is a girl in a baggy hoodie and yoga pants drinking a pumpkin spice latte, needing a cat like me. I'm a fall-loving feline, and I can't wait to be your new bestie. We can take selfies and snaps together and hashtag everything. You can wear scarves, and I can chase them. Get your nails done, and make sure to clip mine too. Brush my hair, and then style yours in a perfect top knot while making sure it's not too perfect. We don't want to look like we tried too hard. We can watch the leaves fall from the trees and talk about how much we love autumn. I can't even. I just love this cat. They marketed her too well. So yeah. Someone please adopt this cat who lives near me so I can pet it and love her, you know? Okay. That's all I have for today. Thank you for listening to me scream about cats. If you have any questions or if you'd like to request a video topic, please leave a comment down below. Let me know about what stuff you struggle with in comics. Like, I talked all about my inking and flat color woes. Yeah, but let me know what you guys struggle with. I'm curious. Or if you have any cool experiences with driving home on scary back roads. And if you want more cool content about webcomics, please make sure to subscribe. I've got many more vlogs coming your way. And if you ever want to read The Scourge of Ninepoint or any of my other comics, make sure to check out our Tigtail store. There's a link to it in the description down below. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I will see you next time. Goodbye!